going on Jerome's raw, real audio rant, and it's going to be a good one today. It's going to be fantastic because finally all of the, actually it wasn't even like a controversy because it was non-existent. It was a non-controversy. All of the Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings, all of those talkers, all that, everything is dead and gone because it's so cathartic. And as someone who consistently, go back and take a look at the tapes like Leslie Frazier, someone who consistently has called it out as BS, and the Vikings should and could and were all in with J.J. McCarthy, it feels like vindication, right? So I'm glad that it finally happened. Rodgers signed with the Steelers. Rodgers to the Vikings. That chapter is closed probably until next offseason. Hell, J.J. McCarthy could lead the Vikings to a Super Bowl win, throw for 4,000 yards and 36 touchdowns, and be All-Pro and Pro Bowl, and Rodgers could completely tank the Steelers, and Tomlin's consecutive winning seasons, that streak is gone, and next offseason will be like, well, would J.J. McCarthy benefit from the mentorship of Aaron Rodgers? On its face, it sounds ridiculous, but it's true. In your heart, you know that's true. But the whole thing with Rodgers, so him being like all bird bones, Boniva, douchebag, that whole thing. But everyone and their mom talk about, the Brett Favre prophecy, go from the Packers to the Jets to the Vikings. Oh, here it is. Now, it would be one thing if it was like 34, 35-year-old Aaron Rodgers walking through that door. It was never going to be that. You have 42-year-old, beaten and battered, old-ass Aaron Rodgers, lost his fastball, and everyone is hung up on the name brand, but doesn't realize the slip in quality. Rodgers, flat out, has not been good since 2021. And that's the case that we made several times. Hell, 2022, his last season with the Packers. Packers fans will tell you, Rodgers sucked that year, straight up. And there was a reason why they became a run-first team with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And it wasn't because of, again, respect Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon is also the name of a person. It wasn't because they're such a stellar running back duo. It's because Rodgers had slipped, right? And he's heading into his age 42 season. Last year with the Jets, remember, he popped his Achilles in the first game in 2023, so last year was his first full season with the Jets. Lowest quarterback rating, 90.5 in his career. 41.3 QBR in 2022, his last season with the Packers, also the lowest of his career since becoming a full-time starter in 2008. Back-to-back double-digit seasons, if you discount 2023, since he attempted one pass. But he had 12 interceptions in 2022, his last with the Packers. His first double-digit interception season since 2010, by the way. And last year, 11 interceptions with the Jets. So back-to-back double-digit interception seasons for the first time ever. His 6.7 yards per attempt was also a career low. And like we said, you're just trying to do mental gymnastics. Think, you know, with a better supporting cast. This is what I never understood. All of the media talking about, Rodgers added to the Vikings makes them a Super Bowl contender. With the Vikings roster now, with J.J. McCarthy, if he pans out and has potential, doesn't that also make the Vikings Super Bowl contender? But Rodgers' stats last year were like Josh Allen. It means that you never even watched the games. All right? You cannot tell me with a straight face, under oath, that you watched some of the tape of Rodgers last year and Josh Allen and tell me that they're the same. Or even in the same stratosphere in terms of quality. Right? It's like, basketball's on right now, so it's in terms of efficiency. Right? Josh Allen efficient. Aaron Rodgers not so much. Right? But the whole thing that bugged me so much is that how transparent everything was. Like Diana Rossini, Michael Silver, Cal Bear alum, just like Aaron Rodgers, Chase Daniel, and The Athletic. just completely going hard in the paint. Rodgers-Vikings, more likely than not, 50-50. Got to come to grips, fanboys, that the Vikings and Rodgers are getting together. And The Athletic, I understand that they got bills to pay, clearly being used by the agent like a puppet. And it's a pretty classic tactic. So there's really only two teams that were interested in Rodgers initially. The Giants and the Steelers. Oh, by the way, the Jets took on $49 million in dead cap just to have him go away. The frickin' Jets. We made that point before. The frickin' Jets, right? And it was the Giants and the Steelers. Had some interest. The Giants ultimately signed Jameis, Russ, and then traded up for Jackson Dart. Steelers were like, hey, Mason Rudolph. And then eventually they signed Rodgers, right? But what the agent was trying to do by calling in some chits with Rossini and The Athletic to really go hard in the paint. Oh, sources told me that the Vikings and the Rodgers. Now, this can be a circular loop, right? So the agent, who's privy to conversations, maybe, I'm not saying that people are just making stuff out of whole cloth, but maybe he exaggerates a conversation. Like maybe Rodgers and Kevin O'Connell did have a conversation, which Kevin O'Connell admitted. Rodgers called the Vikings. And then all of a sudden, the breaking news from a source close to the situation, a.k.a. the agent, the Vikings, Rodgers had a conversation. Sources, Vikings and Rodgers talking contract, ? More at 11, right? All of a sudden, in terms of horse trading favors, as well as trying to be right and trying to be the firstest with the mostest, I think The Athletic got over their skis. And again, it was so clear. It wasn't like Schefter or Pelissero or insiders at other networks were running with the same information, right? Because that's the whole thing. Like these guys obviously do their work and have sources and whatnot, but a lot of their sources, you see the tweets, like the agent releases, emails them all at the same time, then they come out with very similar wording. It's kind of funny in a way. But since everyone else was not picking up on the steam and in fact was pushing against it, that the Vikings were very happy with J.J. McCarthy, which they are, that's what made it so frustrating. And that's what made it so blatantly obvious, and it was so funny. Like Kevin O'Connell, he's never one to throw anyone under the bus, but when Kevin O'Connell straight up asked about it, he was very respectful, which obviously that's Kevin O'Connell's way, and he and Aaron Rodgers go way back like chiropractic, but he made it very clear that Rodgers and his camp contacted the Vikings and not the other way around. And then the Vikings obviously were like, no, we have J.J. McCarthy, highest drafted quarterback, team history, etc. So that was a lie. And again, this whole drama, to a degree, it was funny, but to another degree, again, it goes back to like your great aunt's Facebook page, and they just read the headlines, right? They don't care that there's any substance. So if you go around like Facebook and stuff, like everyone's sharing memes like, "Oh, Rodgers to the Vikings," "Oh, the prophecy," "Oh, the Rossini and the Athletic is saying so." Obviously it's true because the Athletic is an outlet to blah blah blah. That's where like the lack of responsibility and accountability goes out the window in media now. Like people just say things just to say things, and it's a damn shame. It's always this race to be first. No one cares. Just get the information correct. Or just present information neutrally, and we'll make up our own damn minds. Because if you pushed against Rodgers to the Vikings makes 0 sense because of J.J. McCarthy. Also, Rodgers is old and washed. And blah, 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 far prophecy. You got ripped. How dare you go up against valid reporting from my colleagues? I'm John Krasinski, the basketball guy. Again, you know that your reporting is really, really good when you have to call in the basketball guy to like white knight you. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad that it's over. And frankly, I'm glad that I'm right because I was right the entire damn time because that's what I do. All I am is right, no matter what. Just ask my wife. Actually, no, don't ask her because then I'll get in trouble. But obviously, it was so insane and inane because it took away from J.J. McCarthy. And I'll posit this. With all of the Rodgers talk, with all of the, well, look into this, we'll look into that, J.J. McCarthy legitimately might be the most disrespected, disregarded, and just straight up lied about quarterback in NFL history. Think about it. Like, no other first-year start, like, no other rookie from last year's class, whether it's Nix, whether it's Daniels, whether it's Caleb, whether it's Drake May, whether it's Penix. Hell, maybe it's Spencer Rattler. No one was talking about, well, the Vikings don't trust, or their team doesn't trust them, and Rodgers should come in. It's so stupid. And he was basically just the one denigrated because they're trying to ramp up Rodgers, like just trying to pump him up. It's like, oh, here we go, blah, blah, blah. It's ridiculous. But McCarthy's going to prove all the haters and the losers wrong. Rodgers and Tomlin are going to have a fallout. Tomlin somehow is going to get fired and is going to be unemployed for about 2 seconds. Frankly, the way that Steelers fans react to Tomlin, I understand don't let good be the enemy of great, but Mike Tomlin's freaking great, man. How about you yell at Omar Khan for providing the subpar rosters and not taking quarterback of the future seriously? That's exactly what they've done. Kenny Pickett, small hand, smells like cabbage. Yeah. But either way, I'm just glad that all of this nonsense is over, and I'm glad that we are approaching a point on the field where JJ can silence a lot of losers and malcontents, and I'm glad that everyone knows the score. And it'd be one thing if, like, Rossini and The Athletic just mentioned it in passing, but they basically made a cottage industry about going all in on it and calling anyone who disagreed with them idiots. They wanted to make you feel like an idiot, right? So I'm glad that this entire time you've been riding with us. We've been calling it out. It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense, and it never will make sense. And I'm glad that you're here. I feel vindicated. I feel like we should go celebrating. King of Diamonds? No. Oh, no. Anyways, that's it. Aaron Rodgers signs with the Steelers. Our long national Rodgers, Bird Bones, Boniva, octogenarian to the Vikings nightmare is over. And never listen to the Athletic again unless it's Alec Lewis. That's it. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.